everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Mariah and I talk about books and bookish things on this channel. I am really getting this up. I just had the last little push of my paper to do and it was 20 pages and it was really stressing me out, but that's now all over and I am free. So I'm going to do this. I apologize for lack of makeup and everything. I work nights, so I just got up not that long ago and I'm not allowed to wear fun makeup to work, so I'm going to put any on. Today we are going to go over my TBRnium rolls for the month of November. Now let's get to the books. The first roll. Bear picks. This is my sister Heather's nickname, and she picked for me rereading The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. I love The Hobbit. I love Lord of the Rings. I'm really excited to have a book to start the month with that I can just go into. It's a classic. The premise is a band of dwarfs shows up at a hobbit's house and hire him to be a burglar to steal back their treasure, which was taken by a dragon. It's not that long. This is I think the 75th anniversary edition. 300 pages with illustrations. Next is the TBR jar. Now, I'm not going to pull from the TBR jar this month. I just did it off camera. I wanted to get my TBR narrowed down, and I pulled the Shadows of the Dark Crystal by J.M. Lee. Yeah. This is an original series set in the Dark Crystal Age of Resistance, which is a prequel to the Dark Crystal. This tells the story of a young Gelfling woman called Naya, who finds herself summoned from a remote village to witness the trial of the brother who's been accused of treason by their Skeksis overlord. I love the Dark Crystal. I've always loved the Dark Crystal. I was obsessed with the TV show. It got me through a lot of house cleaning, but it also gave me a lot of emotions. I'm really looking forward to this book. Again, it's not long, 282 pages. With illustrations. I think they're illustrations by Brian Froud. Yes. So, illustrations. So the cover was illustrated by Brian Froud, which I've been obsessed with his fairy artwork since seeing the Dark Crystal. He did the Book of Good Fairies and the Book of Bad Fairies, I think it's called, which is at my parents' house, but I absolutely adore it. And then it was also illustrated by, the interior was illustrated by Corey Godby. So I'm really looking forward to reading this and seeing all the pretty pictures. I think that this is technically middle grade.
Three. My pick.
Today's coffee drink is in my Fluff You Fluff and Fluff mug. And it is the Raspberry Chocolate Torte from Kroger brand coffee. The next roll was my pick, which I'm super excited about. I never get to pick my own books. And I picked The True Confessions of Charlotte Doyle by Avi. This is a recommendation from my friend Liz, who said it was her favorite book. And I'm really looking forward to finally reading it. This is definitely... I don't even think this is middle grade. I think that this is technically like a young reader. I used to love Avi's work. So I'm really looking forward to reading this. It's 210 pages. It tells the story of the 13-year-old Charlotte Doyle, who is excited to rejoin her father in Rhode Island after being away at school in England, and she's supposed to be escorted there by a couple of families, and they don't show up, and she gets caught up in a conflict on the ship between the sailors. And this is Liz's favorite book, so I'm really looking forward to reading it. So the next was the highest rated on Amazon. Yeah. And I got Alpha Land by Christina Jurado. It is a short story collection. I've been reading a lot of those lately. It's a short story collection about, it's science fiction short story collection that talks about the different lives that take place out of the corners of our eyes, just out of sight. And the boundaries between real and unreal have never been so porous or so fragile. Alien sex goddesses feed off venal politicians. People have their memories wiped and their personalities changed for a fee. A vision of the champing jaws of hell accompanies a death in the family. These 6 stories are 6 different worlds and introduce into the English-speaking market a fascinating new author of speculative fiction. She, Christina Jurado, is a Spanish author. So I'm really looking forward to reading that and seeing how I like her works. And maybe eventually I could pick it up in Spanish. I'm trying to learn. I'm trying. The next pick came at a perfect time, and that was Kim's recommendation. My beautiful friend Kim is always letting me raid her massive DVD stash and her cozy mystery stash, because I love old TV shows like The Falcon and The Saint. So she lended me the first 2 books in a series called the Albert Campion Mysteries. The first one is the Crime at Black Dudley, which is by Marjorie Allingham, and it tells the story of the death at an English country house and the investigation of that and how everything plays. I'm really looking forward to reading this. It becomes highly recommended, and she loved it. So thank you, Kim. It is, again, not very long, 229, and it introduces the protagonist for the rest of the series. So it's November, the temperature changed drastically where I am, so it's the perfect season to cuddle up with a cozy mystery and just read until my eyes bleed. The next is one that I'm not really looking forward to reading, and that was the lowest rated on my Goodreads, or in this case Storygraph for me. And that is A Matter of Principle, Humanitarian Arguments for War in Iraq. This was published in 2005 during the height of the war, or when the U.S. had just entered the war in Iraq as part of the War on Terror, and due to the mistaken idea that Iraq had weapons of mass destruction. I have strong feelings going into this book, and I'm really hoping that this book is not as bad as I have anticipated being, and that I will not be rage annotating this book, because I either love annotate books or I rage annotate books, and I have a feeling that I'm going to rage annotate this book. I would like to say that recognize that the war in Iraq has done irreparable damage to the country and continues a trend in the Middle East that we cannot ever atone for. But I do try to learn as much as I can about the region and the conflicts in the region to be a better world citizen. And I hope that you guys will join me on that journey. So, Matter of Principle, Humanitarian Arguments for War in Iraq, edited by Thomas Cushman. The next role was a book by an author with flora in their name. Flora or fauna in their name. I chose the Face Fakers Game by Chandler J. Birch. Birch is a type of tree, thus the flora. This is a story about a kid named Ashes who lives in Burrowside, which is a slum that has monsters and madmen and gangs of orphans, and he makes a living by pickpocketing until one day pickpocketing and cheating at cards, so that he can pay the governor of his little section. And he gets into some trouble and is rescued by a man named Candlestick Jack, who runs a group of thieves who have the ability to change their faces. They're called artificers, and they're illusionists, but like actual magic illusionists. Yeah, anyways. Candlestick Jack wants him to join on his next heist, so this is a heist story, and it's a little dark, and I really, really hope that I love this, because I want to love this really, like, a lot. This one's one of the longer ones on my TBR, and it's 442 pages. Adult fantasy. Adult fantasy. The next role was Random Number Generator on Amazon? Yeah, through my Kindle list, and I got The Bone Jar by S.W. Kane. That's set in England. It's a mystery thriller that involves an abandoned asylum, 2 murders, and a mysterious former patient. So the body of an elderly woman is found in this abandoned asylum, and just as they're getting into the investigation, a second body is found nearby. So that's very... and they're wondering how the 2 murders are connected. And it sounds spooky and fun. Sounds spooky and fun. So I've been trying to get more into mystery thrillers, so if you have any recommendations, please leave that comment down below. I would really appreciate it. The next is Random Number Generator on Goodreads, and there was a period of time where I was letting my friends recommend me books, and I had a friend at the time who was very into paranormal romance, so the book on this is a paranormal romance, and it is Dark Lover by J.R. Ward. If you've been a long-time viewer, and by long time I mean stuck with me through the couple of months of spotty postings, you know that I don't read romance that often, like at all. So this should be interesting. I think the last romance I read was listening to a paranormal romance on a cross-country drive because I was driving by myself and I needed something to scream at. who knows, maybe I'll find a genre that I really like. Dark Lover is about Dark Lover tells the story of the only pureblood vampire and leader of a group of vampire warriors called the Black Dagger Brotherhood. And he is left in charge of introducing a female half-breed vampire into the vampire world, essentially, and you know, it's a romance novel. Next roll is my friend Julia picks. Hi, Julia. And that will be Binti Home. This is the, I think, this is the second book. This is the second book in the Binti sci-fi series by Nedia Korafor. She's a Nigerian-American author, and I'm really loving her books. I discovered them this year, and the Binti series is all very short novellas, but I love the punch that they pack. So I really recommend the first Binti, which tells the story of a girl who is the only one of her people to have ever left Earth to go to an intergalactic university, and on the way her ship gets attacked, and that's all I'm gonna say. It's like 100 some odd pages. You should totally pick it up. It's like a 2.5, 3 hour audiobook. So I highly recommend this. Highly recommend this series. This is the second book. I'm reading it because my friend Julia picked it out for me. The next book is my pick again. I got two my picks and I'm very excited about it. I'm going to actually pick up Mexican Gothic again by Silvia Moreno Garcia. This is a Gothic horror about set in the 1950s Mexico, and I've heard amazing things about it. This was on my September TBR, and I just didn't get around to it. Because life. And I'm so excited to read this. I've been really looking forward to it. The idea is, I've heard that this is like Jane Eyre meets Lovecraft, and I love both of those things. So I'm really looking forward to expanding my Gothic horror Gothic horror experience. That is a new release that came out, I think, July of this year. I'm not sure. The next book was a book related to an occupation. I kind of took this with broad strokes and chose The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success by Deepak Chopra. This was a gift from a friend of my husband's, and it goes over like things to help you spiritually set yourself up for success. It's really short. I'm hoping that I will enjoy it. Yeah, it's 111 pages. I've read a lot of self-help books, so I'm looking forward to seeing how this one measures up. Next is Librarian's Pick, and I chose The Silent Patient, which is an investigation into, it's a mystery, or it's a thriller, I think, about this woman who killed her husband, and she hasn't spoken since, and this person is sent to like investigate that. Well, she's in, I think she's in a mental hospital. Yes. That's about all I know about it. I've seen it on a couple of channels. I think I saw some mixed reviews on it, so I'm kind of concerned, but I'm also not super duper worried. The next book is a book recommended by someone you trust, and I chose The Shining by Stephen King. My friend Ashley recommended this a while ago. I bought her Dr. Sleep as a gift, and she recommended that I read The Shining. I've also seen a lot of people say that The Shining is a great Stephen King book. Not sure if that's where I should start, but I guess I started with, I'm halfway through it, so I guess The Shining can't be much worse than that. It tells the story of this family who goes up to the Overlook Hotel and is the caretakers for the winter, and I think it's like a slow descent into madness type horror, which I'm forward to. I'm in the mood for reading a lot of horror lately. Next book on my TBR is Fiona, my sister. Fiona gets to choose. She's 10, so I get a lot of middle grade recommendations from her, and I'm really excited for this one. She loved it. This is The Gauntlet by Karuna Riazi. This is a story about a trio of friends who get stuck in a puzzle game akin to a Rubik's Cube, and they have to defeat the game and rescue everybody trapped inside, including the main character Farah, whose baby brother has been trapped inside. Her baby brother Ahmed has been trapped inside, and the game itself is called The Gauntlet of Blood and Sand. How this was billed to me by my mom, Fiona just said it was awesome, but by my mom, it's Jumanji. It's a steampunk Jumanji with a Middle Eastern flair. So I'm really looking forward to reading that, and I can't wait to get my teeth into that, because I really loved the last book that she recommended to me, and I really want to continue with that series. Maybe I should make a video about the series that I want to continue. The final book on my TBR is actually a punishment book for not finishing 2 books on my TBRnium TBR for last month. I didn't finish The Bonecryer's Moon or Gin City. I was really enjoying Gin City. I wasn't quite sure how I was feeling about Bonecryer's Moon yet, but what I can tell you is that I now have a punishment book, and that is The Road by Cormac McCarthy. If you don't remember the punishment books, I have a poster, the Novelogues poster by Been There Done That, and with the 100 best novels they think you should read. I random number generate a number 1 through 100, and that is the punishment book that I have to read, whether I want to actually read it or not. This book is Cormac McCarthy's The Road, and it is a post-apocalyptic novel about a father and son who are trying to move south to survive the winter. I saw the movie with Viggo Mortensen, and it was pretty good. I've heard mixed things about the actual book, though. I think I'm going to listen to this on audiobook if I can. I need more audiobooks in my life. And that's everything. That's my TBR for the month of November. 16 books in total, but I don't have any school to do, so that should help me increase my reading by a lot. Our question of the day: which books are you looking forward to reading this month? And again, my coffee is the raspberry chocolate torte from Kroger brand coffee, and it's Fluff, and it's in my Fluff You Fluff and Fluff mug. I hope you all stay safe and have a great rest of your week. I know it's a very turbulent time in the U.S., but I send out all my love and support for you, and hoping that you're taking care of yourself, drinking water, have a self-care plan. Don't be afraid to stay off social media. And I will talk to you guys next week. All the best coffee, wine, and books to you. Cheers.